Hello, this is Eric Stearns, also known as White Soaring Eagle in the shamanic and music world, and I want to wish Rob McConnell and you and yours, all the listeners out there to the X Zone Radio Show, a very happy holidays and a really awesome 2010 coming up. Thank you very much, guys. Talk to you later.
Well, since you don't know what you want to say, welcome back to the X Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the all-new X Zone Broadcast Network. My email address is xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, on MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com, and our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. That is our portal into the many sites that we have, including the new xzbn.net that shows you all the satellites that this show is on, because people think that a lot of these shows are podcast only. Well, we archive for podcast. We also archive on MP3. We also archive on other formats. But we are a real bona fide radio show, X Zone Nation. And to see the satellites and the footprint that we do cover, which is worldwide, go to www.xzbn.net. My guest this hour is Joseph Peterson. We're going to be talking about Arbatel, concerning the magic of the ancients. And Joe, welcome back to the X Zone. How are things where you are?
Very good, thank you.
Tell me, Arbatel. Can you tell me what Arbatel is?
Arbatel is a little book on magic, which was written in the 16th century, and it succinctly summarizes all that was known at that point of different types of magic, different magic systems. So it also includes its own little system for spiritual advancement and communicating with angels and using spiritual forces to better your life.
Who was the original author of the Arbatel, and how long has it been around?
Well, it looks like it was written in the 1570 time frame, 1575. The original author and publisher remained anonymous, and wisely so, because when it was published, it immediately launched an investigation by the church and caused quite a stir. But we can actually tell that who the publisher was based on the unique elements in the way the book was produced. And it turns out that it was a publisher named Peter Perna, and he published a lot of esoteric literature and also related books in that time frame. So as far as the author itself, there's really been very little information on it. My investigations, I think the most likely candidate is a man named Jacques Gohary, and I think that for a number of reasons. But he was a kind of a intellectual omnivore, and wrote on a lot of the same subjects, only in more detail, and has the very same literary style, command of the same sources, and he actually started up a little group that in Paris for discussing these subjects. And Arbatel is very much seems like a syllabus for a group of people getting together to discuss these things. So I think he fits pretty closely to what I would envision the actual author. Whether it's him or not is speculation at this point, and I have not seen any scholars that have ventured any other speculations.
Joe, please stand by. You and I have to take a 2-minute commercial break. We'll be right back. Joseph Peterson is my special guest, Exo Nation. We're talking about Arbatel, concerning the magic of the ancients. His website is www.esotericarchives.com. That's www.esotericarchives.com. If you'd like to give us a call, our toll-free number is 1-800-610-7035. That is toll-free worldwide. 1-800-610-7035. Email xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com. And our website portal, www.xzoneradiotv.com. My name is Rob McConnell. Joseph Peterson is my special guest this hour. And we're coming to you from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the all-new X Zone Broadcast Network.
Meet me under the mistletoe, midnight Christmas Eve. Your sweet kiss is the first gift I'd like to receive. The presents that we bought will have to wait beneath the tree. Meet me under the mistletoe, midnight Christmas Eve. There's frost on all the windows.
Welcome back, everyone. Joseph Peterson is my special guest this hour. www.esotericarchives.com. We're talking about Arbatel, concerning the magic of the ancients. And as you and I were discussing during the commercial break off air, Joseph, the year 1575, when the Arbatel was first published, it kind of makes the Arbatel the very first print chat room, equal to the online chat rooms we have today. And can you imagine the impact that the Arbatel would have had worldwide if the internet was available to those people way back in 1575, or when the Arbatel was published first in English in 1655?
Oh yeah, it was tremendously influential even in print form, and practically nobody since has been able to talk on the subject without having at least some knowledge of Arbatel.
What are some of the topics that are covered? You talked briefly about angels, about meditation, and what was the main reason why the author, who wanted to remain anonymous because of the retribution of the church at that time on such books, what was he trying to get out? What message was he trying to share?
Well, of course, the overlying message is that it's possible to have a relationship and direct experience of the spiritual world. Mm-hmm. That you don't have to rely on the authorities. You can seek out direct information on this, and the main topic was the sort of the Renaissance attitude towards life, which is that all things in the universe are connected, and that as such they try to integrate all of the elements of their lives, including religion and science, and the art of memory was extremely influential. Music, magic, all of these things were considered different aspects of the same thing, and they tried to integrate these different threads in their lives. So that's kind of the underlying principle of it.
How far have we come since 1575 in getting the word out to the masses on the esoteric and the other possibilities that have been suppressed by religious organizations throughout the years?
Well, of course, a lot of this information has been available and even widely distributed, not just to the intellectuals and such, but for the most part, a lot of it has been isolated to research libraries and things like that. And with the internet now, there's tremendous amount of source material available that hadn't been readily accessible, and that's part of why I put together the website, is just to make kind of some of the texts that I had found most useful available to a wider audience.
Angels have been talked about for hundreds of years. You'll have to excuse me, I'm just going through a coughing spell over here. How have angels changed over the hundreds of years since people have been talking about them? Have they changed, or are they still the exact same as they were way back? Let's go to 1575.
Well, I think everyone who wrote about it has a little bit different take on it, but for the most part, people were struggling with what the actual nature of these supernatural beings was, and whether they had their own agenda, whether they were generally beneficent to people or hostile, or the exact nature is always people are trying to understand. But it's I think the speculations have been pretty consistent going back thousands of years.
What has been the one thing in the Arbatel that you have found that has been most amazing, most awe?
Well, one of the things that interests me the most about it is the mnemonic system, which seems to be a common theme with the Renaissance esoterica, namely that if you have a memory system, for memorizing things, that you can organize all of your knowledge and makes it useful for recall, but also kind of organizes your whole spiritual being, and so that the memory system should reflect some kind of cosmic reality, and that's one of the main themes of a lot of this literature, including Arbatel, and so that's proven to be a very interesting element for me.
Are we getting any closer to what the truth of the esoteric message really is, or the lessons that we need to learn in order to advance to the next evolutionary state of our being?
I don't know that we're getting any closer to it. I think it's an abstract, or it can't, it's something that's infinite and can't be quantified in exact terms. So people are given a variety of different messages to try and get beyond the concrete, but there's definitely a big gulf to cross to get there.
Joseph Peterson is my special guest of this hour, X-Zone Nation. His website is www.esotericarchives.com. Joseph, I'm going to ask you the same question that I ask all the people who come on this show. Why do you think in today's society, the year 29 going into 2010, people are looking at the esoteric or the alternative philosophies for answers they can't find anywhere else?
Well, I think part of our makeup is the spiritual elements that are definitely not being addressed by a lot of the conventional systems that we deal with every day. And so I think there is a void. One example of that is I think there's a void that people feel from a lack of ritual, and so they tend to fill in other ritual elements that they're not getting otherwise. And I think the same thing is experienced in terms of spirituality and experience of spiritual realms.
1-800-610-7035 is toll-free worldwide on the X-Zone Broadcast Network. My special guest is Joseph Peterson. His website is www.esotericarchives.com. In the many archives that you have at your website, esotericarchives.com, is there any one part of esoteria that you focus on?
Well, I kind of got started with this because of the writings of John Dee, and that's kind of been the center focus, and all of the rest of the texts that I have out there are like concentric circles around the writings and life of John Dee.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of how I got started on the whole thing, and how the different elements out there relate to each other.
When you go out talking to people, I know that you've also written the 6th and 7th books of Moses, John Dee's first books of mystery, and the Lesser Key of Solomon. What are some of the questions that people who get to meet you after reading your books are just dying to ask?
Good question. I'm drawing a blank on that. I don't know that I get a typical type of question from the audiences.
All right, mine would be, what are the 6th and 7th books of Moses about? Are these books that are not incorporated into the Bible?
The 6th and 7th books of Moses are purportedly additional books of Moses beyond the 5 that are included in the Bible. Yes, absolutely. And it is what the topic of it is the different magical techniques that Moses used to overcome the magicians that Pharaoh threw at him, and some of the miraculous feats that Moses performed in the Bible are reportedly explained in the 6th, 7th books of Moses.
Now, I know there's a lot of talk now within the scientific community about how Moses did perform these so-called miracles. Being an expert and researcher and investigator in the esoteric realms and magical realms, were they really miracles, or were they just events that were not known in that day but have been successfully explained by science?
Well, I think you can come up with scientific explanations, whether they're, completely satisfying the scientific explanations for various things or not. Is, of course, a subject to question, but I think there are spiritual elements there as well that can't be that thus explained.
So would you say it's a matter of the reader's interpretation and their own belief system?
Yeah, I think the writings are basically about Moses and the Israelites' relationship to God more than anything, and the individual events, even back then, were seen as reflecting the things that are happening in the spiritual world.
All right, Joseph, stand by. You and I have to take a commercial break. We'll be back after the news. Joseph Peterson is my special guest. www.esotericarchives.com, and we're talking about Arbatel, concerning the magic of the ancients. My name is Rob McConnell, and this is the X-Zone, a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. And we'll be back on the other side of this break with, once again, my special guest this hour, Joseph Peterson, esotericarchives.com, as we continue from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the all-new X-Zone Broadcast Network.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Greetings, X-Zone Nation. This is Dr. Len Saputo, author of A Return to Healing, wishing Rob, Laura, all worldwide listeners of the X-Zone Nation a very Merry Christmas and a healthy, prosperous, and spiritually filled New Year. We'll be talking together again soon.
My name is Michael Telstar, Canada's leading mentalist from Toronto, Ontario.
Hi, my name is Splinza, and you're listening to my dad, Rob McConnell, on the X-Zone.
This is Psychic Dorothy from St. Catharines, and you're listening to Rob McConnell.
Hello, my name is Holly Reeves, an astrologer from Astro For You, and you're listening to Canada's #1 paranormal radio show, The X Zone, with Rob McConnell.
Welcome to The X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
It's that time of year when families gather together to reopen old feelings, and Silver Bell Records is proud to present A Dysfunctional Family Christmas. This is the album your family is sure to cherish for Christmases to come.
Christmas time, you force a smile. Everyone is joining in the group denial. Folks behaving infantile. Family Christmas time.
Hit after dysfunctional hit. Songs like The Almost Perfect Christmas.
Dinner is perfect, the presents are perfect, the tree in the parlor's a perfect one.
Then your brother yells at your mother, Christmas is ruined for everyone.
Yet timeless favorites like Someday I'll Get Christmas Right. I've got my drinking under control for the holidays. Peace on Earth Where? And the Daughters Saw.
Presents and wrapping paper, ribbons and bows and all that stuff. Why do we even bother? Nothing we can do is good enough.
And this country Christmas classic.
Every Christmas when you got drunk, I told the children you were not drunk. And I said, Tommy, you're not being bad. It's just that Christmas makes your mommy mad.
You'll get Can't You Let It Drop, It's Christmas. What I Want, You Can't Buy Me. Fruitcake and Shame. And Why Am I the Only One Who Knows What Christmas Really Means? And many more.
Underneath the mistletoe, it's a 2x2 jingle bell world. And underneath all those extra pounds is a very pretty girl.
Daddy's nose is red and runny. Daddy's voice is gruff and funny. And the only words I can understand are God and Him and Christmas.
Just imagine 24 timeless standards, including the classic Carol of Intimacy.
Leave me alone, please go away. I'm doing fine, just get away. Leave me alone, please go away. I'm doing fine, just get away. Leave me alone, please go away. I'm doing fine, just get away.
To order, call 1-800-GET-HELP today. Operators are standing by.
I'm still waiting to get my copy. As soon as I get it, I'll play a couple of cuts off there. Welcome back to the X Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell, coming to you from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the all-new X Zone Broadcast Network. 1-800-610-7035 is toll-free worldwide. Email xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com, and our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. That's our portal site that'll bring you to the many sites that we here at the X Zone Nation have. My guest this hour is Joseph Peterson. We're talking about Arbatel, concerning the magic of the ancients. What else can you tell us about the magic of the ancients, Joseph?
Well, the Arbatel has summaries of different ancient techniques, but they're very, very brief.
Mm-hmm.
So he talks briefly about the Druids and the ancient Greeks and things of that nature, and doesn't go into a lot of detail in Arbatel itself. But it's clear that the author was very knowledgeable about all these areas. And
a question for you about the 6th and 7th book of Moses. What is involved, or what is included in these two books that...
Well, go ahead.
No, that we don't know from the Bible?
Well, the 6th and 7th books of Moses was, as I published it, has a lot of different versions of these same two texts, which are the different variations of the 6th and 7th books of Moses, plus a lot of related material that was published in the in the previous century or two, with older elements clearly, but it so it has different different incantations and symbols that were used, purportedly used by Moses, and could be used, by practitioners of the book as well, to benefit various aspects of their lives.
In the 6th and 7th book of Moses, does he talk about the Ark of the Covenant?
Yeah, the Ark of the Covenant is discussed, but most of the 6th and 7th books of Moses doesn't go into a lot of detail explaining the different aspects. It's just, these are the words to say, and these are the symbols to use to achieve these effects, but it doesn't really go into the explanation very much. Now, there is a detailed introduction that was written by a Joseph Ennemoser that went into the various biblical passages and went into more details on the different elements of Jewish magic that are found in the Bible.
Is there a big difference in between a Jewish magic and, let's say, black magic or other forms of magic that have been found throughout history?
Well, there was a wide range of Jewish magical practices, some of which were more white magic, what you commonly think of as white magic, and some of it was more sinister. And but you can find elements, a wide spectrum of things. And one of the things I found most interesting in all of this is that there really is a ton of source material that's available, and it's not printed. So, for example, of Jewish magic, there's a collection of some 300,000 texts that were discovered in what's referred to as a geniza, which is a little storeroom that is commonly used by Jews for disposal of sacred texts, because the texts don't contain, because the texts contain sacred names. You couldn't throw them out. It was sacrilege to throw them out. So the practice was that they would bring them to the synagogue, and it would get put into this little geniza or storage room, and then periodically the authorities would take all the materials and they'd give it a proper burial. And one of these stashes was discovered. I don't remember the exact date it was discovered, but it has, like I say, some 300,000 manuscripts, many of which deal with Jewish magic. And one of the texts that's included in the 6th and 7th books of Moses, which is how I became more familiar with this, is a book describing the mystical uses of the Psalms, or practical uses of the Psalms. So each psalm would have a different purpose that you could recite it for practical purposes. And it turns out that the Cairo Geniza has dozens of texts in the same tradition, and different versions of this uses of the Psalm book, and so just a tremendous wealth of material that's unexplored.
So tell me, during your research, have you seen any magical incantation or magical spell that, in your opinion, would have the church wanting to put a clamp on all of this?
Well, I think the church, the various authorities have, not just the church, but various authorities have thought a lot of this stuff to be dangerous, because they do kind of, as we said earlier, they do kind of advocate individual seeking access to these things, and not relying solely on the authorities, relying on the priests or relying on the rabbis or the secular authorities for all the answers. it was threatening in that respect.
But as far as any incantation that would be, used by a Christian for whatever purpose, well, isn't prayer a type of magic?
Yes, and there's a certain, you could interpret all of the biblical events as either being miracles or being magic, and it's really the same thing using different words. And I think you're talking about the same thing.
Yeah. So it's amazing that the church would want to put a kibosh on this, especially since there was nothing different than what they were doing. And in fact, you've got statues in church. People pray to statues, and isn't that it wasn't this one of the big things that was a no-no in the Ten Commandments? It's fire, fire in front, burning a candle in front of a statue, I thought was part of what Moses said that God did not want, was anybody to worship an idol.
Yes. And of course, there were the authorities had specific ways that they wanted the rituals to be performed, and their specific rituals, and anything that kind of strayed outside of that narrow definition was a threat to their authority.
Tell me about your book, The Lesser Key of Solomon.
Well, The Lesser Key of Solomon is interesting. It's again a collection of 5 different texts. It deals more specifically with communicating with angels and demons, and a lot of the techniques that are described in there were very similar to techniques that John Dee used for his experiments with angel communication, and that's kind of how I started to become interested in that. And the various texts, the oldest of them is the Ars Notoria, which Dee clearly had a copy of and was widely distributed in the Middle Ages, and so it. Some of the techniques are more like the sinister demon communications, and some of them are more of an innocuous nature.
So did John Dee have any success in his experimentations with angel communication?
Well, he wrote probably the first detailed records of the results of his experiments, and he had thousands of pages of material that he wrote down as a result of these angel communications. Mm-hmm. And so that's really how I got started on this, is that just trying to understand, how useful was this to him? What does it mean when he's talking about this holy table, for instance? And so that kind of launched me on my research project that started the whole thing.
What kind of experiments did John Dee use to communicate with angels?
Well, John Dee had originally a set of prayers that he composed to try to asking God for help with communications and for knowledge of some of the subjects that he was studying. And what he went about doing was fairly typical of the time, and actually going back hundreds of years prior, which was to use scrying, or gazing into a reflective surface. And John Dee had numerous crystal balls and apparently an obsidian mirror and other media that he used to try to directly communicate with these beings. And he kind of developed different techniques to try to improve the communications, to try to prevent deception. Some of the beings that he communicated with would would prove deceptive, and so he tried to refine his techniques to try and improve the results.
So it sounds that he was very concerned that not only the angels would have access to the communication, but also the demonic forces, and that, this channel wasn't secure, so to speak.
Oh, absolutely. That's kind of a common theme throughout all of this literature too, and actually in modern times the ability to scry turns out to be a psychological phenomenon that pretty much anybody can learn to do, but the question is how accurate is it and how beneficial is it, and so these different techniques are designed to try to improve that.
All right, Joseph, please stand by. You and I have to take our final break for this hour. Joseph Peterson is our special guest. Joseph Peterson, www.esotericarchives.com. My name is Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone, and we're coming to you live and around the world from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the all-new X Zone Broadcast Network. Welcome back, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone on the X Zone Broadcast Network. 1-800-610-7035 is toll-free. X Zone at xzoneradiotv.com is the email address. On MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv at hotmail.com, and our website portal, www.xzoneradiotv.com. Joseph Peterson is our guest. He is the gentleman behind the Arbatel, Concerning the Magic of the Ancients. It was first published in 1575, then republished and translated in English in 1655. And I would imagine, based on what you and I have discussed over the last hour, Joseph, that it really shook a lot of people. And what was, we can only imagine what John Q. Public said when they were able to get this book in their hand, and it basically shook their very religious beliefs at their foundations.
Yeah, it really did, and a lot of important mystics and philosophers picked up on it right away and developed their whole thinking was influenced by it, and you can see that in the writings of, as I mentioned, John Dee, the mystic Jakob Boehme, Steiner, Rudolf Steiner, and more modern writers as well.
Any more books coming out for the year 2010?
Well, timing is always a question on a lot of these things. I've been working on a translation of the Key of Solomon for quite a few years. I expect that's going to take a while to complete. Probably the one that's closest at this point is I'm doing a translation of the Sworn Book of Honorius, which is a very influential medieval grimoire, and I've found that to be extremely fascinating also, especially the portions that have not been previously translated into English. So that's forthcoming. I'm also working on a little fortune-telling game that was popular in the 15th, 16th century called the Book of Fortune. which I thought was kind of interesting. It has some elements that are similar to some of the mnemonic and magic system of Arbatel. So I started researching that, and I hope to publish that at some point here in 2010.
Joseph, I want to take this opportunity of thanking you very much, and to you and yours a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Well, thank you. Happy New Year and Merry Christmas to you, too. All
right. Joseph Peterson has been our guest of this hour. X-Zone Nation, www.esotericarchives.com. That's www.esotericarchives.com. In the next hour, I'll be speaking to Raymond Buckland. We're going to be talking about ghosts. And in the final hour of tonight's show, Colleen Dietzman and I will be discussing everything that this young lady talks about, especially seeing in the dark, how to claim your own shamanic power now and in the coming age. This is the X-Zone on the Talkstar Radio Network, which is now one of our affiliate carriers, but everything now is going through our one massive network, X-Zone Broadcast Network. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news as we continue right here from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada.